Om Sri Chinmay Sadguru Namaha. Hello children. Welcome to today's online class. Today I am going to discuss with you about our Indian Constitution Part 3. Here our Indian Constitution, our national emblem on our Indian Constitution. Before going to the main lesson children, once we recall about our previous concept here. What is Constitution? So Constitution is nothing but set of rules and regulation which gives for people and for governments also. And here about Nepal national movement we discussed. So how they got independence in the monarchy form of government. Why does we need a constitution? So to avoid the individual power misuse of the present administrators, so we need constitution children. And what are the powers, what kind of powers misused by the individuals we all discussed in our previous classes. So we discussed about our key features of Indian Constitution. We discussed about federalism. Federalism is nothing but sharing power between the levels of government. And we discussed about parliamentary form of government. In our country we are following parliament form of government. And then separation of powers. So here powers separated between the different organs and levels of government to strengthen our democracy. And fourth one and fundamental pillar of our Indian Constitution is our fundamental rights. So what are fundamental rights? What kind of facilities provided to the government in the form of fundamental rights? Today we are going to discuss. The section on fundamental rights has often been referred to as the ecoscience of the Indian Constitution. Colonial rule had created a certain suspicion of the state in the minds of the nationalists, and they wanted to ensure that a set of written rights would guard against the misuse of state power in independent India. Fundamental rights, therefore, protect the citizens against the arbitrary and absolute exercise of power by the state. The Constitution thus guarantees the rights of individuals against the state as well as against the other individuals. What is the importance of fundamental rights here, children? We need to know first of all. At the time of British period, so we are under the British rule, so that each and every ruler, they use their own power and they rule our country. Some people, they divided our people and culture, so that in this situation our people thinking about the fundamental rights which protect the citizens from the misuse of powers of individuals. So that moreover, the various minority communities also express the need for the Constitution to include rights that would protect their group. The Constitution, therefore, also guarantees the rights of minorities against the majority. As Dr. B.R. Ambedkar has said about these fundamental rights, their object is twofold. The first object is that every citizen must be in a position to climb those roads. So here, rights for all, not only for few people. So the main first objective of fundamental rights, these rights have to enjoy by the each and every one of the nation's citizen. And the second one is, these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. So it will always, these rights should be in the form of official authority. Then only rest of all the people, they obey the rules and regulations of the constitution. They will respect others' fundamental rights. So that because of this view, our constitution makers, they added fundamental rights in our Indian constitution, and it protects the powers and democracy of the individual citizens of the nation here. So in addition to these fundamental rights, our Indian constitution also has a section called directive principles for the state policy. So set of rules and regulations and principles given for state governments and central governments. And this section was designed by the members of the Constituent Assembly to ensure greater social and economic reforms and to serve as a guide to the independent Indian state to institute laws and policies that help reduce the poverty of the masses, just to encourage all the people towards the equality. These fundamental rights are very helpful to Nana. So just listen. Be ready to know your rights. What are the fundamental rights that Constitution has provided to each and every citizen of its nation? What is meant by fundamental rights first of all? So fundamental rights are nothing but essential human rights that are offered to every citizen irrespective of their caste. Race means color, skin color. So because in some countries like America and Africa nations, based on the skin color, red, black and white, they are showing the discrimination. So that here mentioned race also. Creed, place of birth, religion or gender. So whatever the religion, whatever the region they belongs to, whatever the caste they belongs to, and whatever the economic status they have, irrespective of these all the things, our government provided as fundamental rights. These are equal to freedoms, and these rights are essential for personal good and the society at large. So these fundamental rights are very essential to the citizen of a democratic nation. What are the 6 fundamental rights here? Our first right is right to equality. Second one, right to freedom. Third one, right to freedom of freedom from exploitation. Right to freedom of religion. Cultural and educational rights. And the right to constitutional remedies. These are the 6 fundamental rights that we have present, which protects us from the exploitation of the upper communities or the majoritarian people or the rich communities of the society. What is the first right, ma? Right to equality. In our Indian constitution, ma, from Article 14 to Article 18, they provided each and every article, they provided different information related to, means not information, in one word, set of instructions about our equality. What kind of provisions will be included in the articles? Most important article is 14, provides classification but prohibit class legislation. What is meant by classification? Different pay scales for trained teachers and untrained teachers. For training, one kind of payment, untrained for people, one kind of payment. Class legislation example, higher pay scale for men and lower for women. This affects a particular class of people. So to avoid this kind of, it provides classification based on the qualification. Here based on the gender. So there is no class legislation, only classification. Understood? Now what are the main provisions in this? Article 14, equality before the law. All are all equal in front of law. So there is no people or citizens above the law or below the law, all are equal. So law is applicable equally for all the citizens. Article 15. Prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex or place of birth. So there is no person can be discriminating based on these all the things. Those also prohibited. Next one, Article 16. Equality of opportunity. Equality of opportunity in matters of public employment. So regarding the government job opportunities, all people are equal. So they are providing opportunities based on their qualifications. Now salaries not given based on the gender or based on the caste or based on the color. So if any post we have, the salary scale is same based on the qualifications and experience. And Article 17 here. This one, abolition of untouchability. There is in olden days caste discrimination is there. So in this regard, almost all caste untouchability abolished. If any person following these caste discriminations without any information, they will sent to the prison up to 6 months. Or they have collected some fine also. Sometimes both are levied by the judiciary system. Next one, Article 18, abolition of titles. So name and the title. So like different people are using different their caste names. Those all titles also abolished according to Article 18. So these articles guarantee the right to equality. This is about right to equality. In Article 19, mention our second right, right to freedom. From Article 19 to 22, right to equality from Article 14 to 18, right to freedom, Article 19 to 22. According to this Article 19, protection of certain rights regarding freedom of speech, etc. The 6 freedoms are, what are the 6 freedoms in Article 19 mentioned? First one, all citizens shall have the right of freedom of speech and expression. We can speak anything, we can express our views, but without interrupting, without hurting others' opinions or feelings. We have the freedom to speak anything, but we should not trouble other people. We can assemble peacefully and without arms. So we have the freedom to conduct any meetings, assemblies in open place with the permission of the government, but we should not use any arms or weapons for that meetings. And we have the freedom to form associations or unions. So we can clubs or worker clubs or associations or any helping hands. So like this type of organization can form, but without disturbing others. We have the freedom to move freely throughout the territory of India. So we have the right to live, settle in Punjab or settle in Uttar Pradesh or settle in Bengal or settle in Andhra Pradesh. Anywhere we have the right to live within the territory of the nation. And second, fifth one here, we have the freedom to reside and settle in any part of the territory of India, the right to hold any and dispose of property. So to gain any property, to hold any property, we have the right, but in a legal way with the permission of the government. So with the permitted works authorized by government of India only. And now next one, we have the freedom to practice any profession or to carry on any occupation, trade or business. It doesn't mean to we will do smuggling, we will destroy the forest areas, nothing will be. Those are illegal activities not identified by the government of India, Nana. So we can practice any profession which is authorized and permission given by the government of India. Next right against exploitation. So if you observe here pictures, these two children, they are working. So these all children under the 14. Here what kind of right exploited? Which right of the children exploited? So we will see here, this is right against exploitation. In Article 23 and 24 provides right against exploitation. So fundamental rights, what is the right here? Right against exploitation. In Article 23 prohibits human trafficking and forced labor. Human trafficking, what is meant by human trafficking? Human trafficking is nothing but selling and buying humans for different activities, selling and buying humans for different illegal activities we called as human trafficking. So this is against to the law and order. So that Article 23 prohibits human trafficker and forced labor, children. Article 24 prohibits exploitation of children. It is freedom against child labor. So to force the child to do work, it is against to the Article 24 rights. So that the people of India were exploited not only by the British but also by the money lenders and jamindaris. So jamindaris are money lenders giving some small amount to the workers or the farmers who are working under them. So and collecting more interest from them. So whenever they are not able to pay, then they force them to do some works without any payment. So like vetty. So these people also exploiting the labor. And this system was what we call as forced labor. Right against exploitation prohibits all forms of forced labor as well as traffic in human beings. The violation of this provision is an offence punishable under law. So the state requires citizen services in times of major calamities such as floods, forest fire, foreign aggression, etc. So that if any person violated these provisions of right against exploitation, then they will send to the prison and that offence punishable under law. So our constitution also provides safeguards for children. It bans the employment of children below the age of 14 years in any factory, mine or hazardous occupation. So that our Article 24 abolishes the forced labor as well as the child labor also, because the factories, whatever the smoke delivered by the factories are hazardous to the health of the child. Next right, or fundamental right, right to freedom of religion. What is the next one? Right to freedom of religion. If you see here, this is our Indian picture. So here you can observe different types of religions which accompanied in our country. So different people are following different religions in our nation. What are the main provisions of the right to freedom of religion? Listen carefully, Nana. According to the Constitution, all religions are equal before the state, and no religion shall be given preference over the other. Citizens are free to preach, practice, and propagate any religion of their choice only. So, if we want to practice Hinduism, we can. If we want to practice Islam, we can. If we want to practice Christianity, we can. So, we can follow any religion according to our wish. No one can force us to follow this religion or that religion. So, no one can use their power or money to change our religion. This is including our family members also. There is no right to any citizen to force any people. Religious communities can set up charitable institutions of their own. So any religion communities can set up the charitable institution trustees to do the service in the education field, to do service in medical field, any field. That is their wish. No one have the right to stop them, but they must have to take the permission of the government authorities. Next one, activities in such institution which are not religious are performed according to the laws laid down by the government. So in that institutions, so which are not religion are performed according to the laws laid down by the government. So they have to work according to the instructions of the government only. No person shall be compelled to pay taxes for promotion of a particular religion. So no one have the right to ask any person to pay tax for the promotion of any religion. A state-run institution cannot impart education that is pro-religion. So no one has the right to ask some forcibly donations or any other thing related to promotion of the religion. Completely, purely, this is abolished in our Indian Constitution in right to freedom of religion. Freedom of religion mentioned in Article 25. Article 25. So in this Article 25, guarantees freedom of religion to all persons in India. It provides that all persons in India subject to public order, morality, health and other provisions are equally entitled to freedom of conscience and have the right to freely profess, practice, propagate religion. It further provides that this article shall not affect any existing law and order, shall not prevent the state from making any law relating to regulation or restriction of any economic, financial, political or any secular activity associated with religious practice. So here our Indian government or Indian constitution, they control all economic, financial, political, secular activity associated with the religious practice, providing social welfare and reform the social welfare. So these are the main provisions mentioned in Article 25. According to this, so anyone, any citizen can follow any religion without any doubt. So no one has the right to force any people to follow particular religion. Next one, cultural and educational rights. What these cultural and educational rights included? Protection of interest of minorities. Protection of interest of minorities. Right of minorities to establish and administer educational institutions. So particularly in olden days, so particular community people not allowed to go to the school, not allowed to uh, go enter into the temples or churches or whatever. So on that situation, so based on that, these cultural and educational right helps to provide equality and equal opportunities for all community people or caste people in the society, particularly to establish any educational institution uh, or any healthcare centers or any organizations. These cultural and educational rights mentioned in Article 29 and Article 30. According to Article 29 Part 1, protection against interest of the minorities. So who are called as minorities in our country? As you know that maximum people are belongs to Hinduism, 79%, as I explained earlier, and rest of all the communities comes under minorities. So to protect the interest of the minorities, to follow any religion, to establish any organization, to follow any their own cultural activities. And Article 29, freedom to get admission in educational institution. So yes, for example, In Hindu schools, many Christian children, many other religious communities, other caste people, all are studying in the schools, and there is no authority have the right. We don't want to give the admission for particular community, or we don't want to give the particular religion in this way. So all have the freedom to get admission in any educational institution according to the norms. And Article 30. Part 1. In this right to minorities to establish educational institutions. So minorities have their right to establish their own educational institutions. Different Christian minority schools are there, and here is Islam minority schools are there, Urdu schools are there. So they have the rights to establish their own educational institution. And Article 30, Part 2, no discrimination while giving grants, funds or subsidies, all schemes and policies equally provided to all. There is no discrimination in this regard. So this is about cultural and educational rights, Article 29 and 30. Final one, right to constitutional remedies. So what is meant by constitutional remedy? In Article 32, right to constitutional remedies provisions given. What are the one? Remedies for enforcement of rights conferred by this part. The right to move the Supreme Court for the enforcement of the fundamental rights is conferred by this part. So according to this, if any person violated our rights, fundamental rights, so then we have the right to consult our Supreme Court judiciary system to get back or to just get justice from the authorities. And if any person trying to exploit our fundamental rights, like they are forcing them to follow the particular religion, that is against to the fundamental rights. And someone forced us to do some work which is not fair, so that is also comes under exploitation of the rights. And some people are trying to kill some people are robbery, doing robberies. This all comes under against the constitutional provision. So in these all cases we have the right to consult the judiciary system. The Supreme Court shall have power to issue directions or orders or writs, including writs in the nature of habeas corpus and mandamus, prohibition quo warranto, and whichever may be appropriate for the enforcement of any of the rights conferred by the part. So according to this, including writs, the nature of the cases, these different types of cases are there. Prohibitions are required, whichever may be appropriate. According to that, that person will be given punishment by the Supreme Court of India. Fifth key feature of our Indian Constitution is secularism. See here how beautiful it is. So Indian means Hindus, Jains, Buddhists, Sikhs, Islams and Christianity. So many religions are living in one nation, that is our India, what we call as secularism. What are the main characteristics of secularism? In secularism, all religions are treating equally, though their paths of realizing their goals may be different. It encourages moral and spiritual values. It develops freedom and from dogmatic ideas. It does not mean negation of religions, but accepts that all religions have equal values. It implies that no religion is superior or no religion is inferior to other religion. Mutual coexistence of all religions without any hatred or bias against anyone. It implies freedom of worship. It encourages rational thinking and understanding. So, what is the main specialty of our Indian secularism is it never promotes any religion. It never interferes in any religious matters. But whenever the rights of the people are violating by others, then definitely our government can intervene in that religious matters especially. So these are the main characteristics of our secularism. So we live in a diverse society, children, that comprising different religions and different religious belief groups. In this situation, full inclusion can only be achieved if the state is neutral with respect to religion and belief. So that our state, our country is neutral, not belongs to any religion. They never support or promote any religion. They never regret any religion. So it is neutral. That is Indian secularism. We are fortunate to live in an open society like India, where people are free to express their belief. Secularism then is neutral state in an open society. In one word, secularism is neutral state in an open society. That is what we call as Indian secularism. Therefore, the chief aspects of the Indian secularism are: first one, no state religion. Means some countries are promoting different, for example, Pakistan, Islam, Iran, Iraq countries, Islam, like America, Christianity, they are promoting. But in our country, there is no state religion. But majority people are living, but our country never support any religion. So if the ration is giving in ration shops, or any subsidy schemes are giving in government authorities, but all people are eligible to get these policies according to their qualifications or norms of the policies and scheme. But there is no special ration for Hindus, or there is so special ration for Hindus, not like that. So it is a neutral state, so that there is no state religion. So especially here, our state separated from the religion. So there is no state and religious relations in this country. Next one, peaceful coexistence of all religions. So all religions are working together, living together, but in a peaceful manner in our nation. Treatment of all religions equally by the state. Equality of opportunity in the public field for all, irrespective of caste, their creed or race or religion. Ensuring equal citizenship. We have only single citizenship in our country, that is by our Indian government only. Freedom of religion, both individual and corporate. So each and every person or the organization, they have their own freedom to follow any religion. So children, up to now we discussed about our fundamental rights. So this is the activity given in your textbook, Nana. So based on this fundamental rights, what I explained now, try to answer these all questions. First one, if a 13-year-old child is working in a factory manufacturing carpets, so which fundamental rights of the child will be violated? You find out and write. If a politician in one state decides to not allow laborers from other states to work in his state, so one politician belongs to particular X state not allowed the workers of the Y state to work in his state. So that is violation of which right? If a group of people are not given permission to open a Telugu medium school in Kerala, so that is the violation of which fundamental right? If the government decides not to promote an officer of the armed forces of being a woman, so this violates which fundamental right? Find out and write the answer, children. So far we are discussing about only fundamental rights. What about the fundamental duties of the people? Fundamental rights, whatever government is giving to us. Fundamental duties are the responsibilities of the citizen to his nation. This is also very, very important. So we will see what are the fundamental duties that we have present. To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. we must have to respect our national flag and national anthem, so that we should not throw out our national flag anywhere. So just we have to lit a fire to the national flag. We should not throw it in dustbin. And we have to respect our national anthem while singing. And second one is to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. So we have to respect the noble ideals of our freedom fighters. Next one, to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity and integrity of India. We have to protect our sovereignty, United Nation, integration of different communities. We have to uphold and protect them. And to defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so, whenever our country called us to give the service to the nation, so we must have to go in the form of army or in the form of defense, anything. To promote harmony, so for example, for this one, at the time of COVID period, at the early lockdown period, our Prime Minister called all the people to stay at home only. First time one day, after that few days. So all we obey the orders of our Prime Minister. Yes or no? So these type of service we have to be ready. And to promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional or sectional diversities, to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity for women. We have to promote the harmony and spirit of the brotherhoodness among the people and with other religious people. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. So to protect our Indian culture. That is our responsibility. To protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lake, river, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creature. So whenever, if you observe the public property, we may very carelessly our people are damaging the public property in parks or open places are related to the public any. So we are ready to destroy, but we should not do in that way. To develop the scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. To safeguard public property and to abjure violence. To strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. So we have to work for the excellence of our individual as well as to the nation's constant rises in the world, so that we have to help to the nation's name, to increase the name of the nation. So here the constitution also mentions fundamental duties. Find out the help of your teacher. So all fundamental rights here I mentioned. Read carefully and follow it. Write down in your classwork also. And here our Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and other Babu Rajendra Prasad, they are signing on our Indian Constitution. A final session on 24th January 1950. From 26th January 1950 onwards, our Constitution came into force. Now coming to the conclusion, children, that is about our great Indian Constitution and the work of our drafting committee chairman, members, and how they worked very hard in nearly 3 years of time. How different people, they collected different ideas from different nations, and finally we are here to use our great Indian Constitution, which was given by our Constitution makers. Once we have to salute to our Constitution maker for giving this wonderful Indian Constitution to us. We must have to give our salutes to them. The Constitution has several distinctive features. It is the lengthiest constitution in the world. and it is a combination of rigidity and flexibility. So the Constitution provides for a quasi-federal system, that is central government and state government, and set up with a strong center. So every state have to obey the rules and regulations of the central government. That is what we call as a quasi-judiciary system, quasi-federal government. So there is a clear division of powers between the center and the state. The Supreme Court of India is the apex court of India, which will resolve the disputes between the center and state or between the states. And next one, India has a parliamentary democracy. The Council of Ministers headed by the Prime Minister, and he enjoys the real powers and responsibilities to the Parliament. And the Indian Constitution provides for fundamental rights which are justifiable. Then 10 fundamental duties have also added to the Constitution. The directive principles of state policy give a concrete shape to the welfare concept. This is briefly about our Indian Constitution. Once again, we salute our Constitution makers for giving this wonderful Constitution for the nation. Children, Hari Om children, I hope every one of you understood the lesson very clearly and the value of our Indian Constitution. Stay home, stay safe, and do your work properly and complete your work as soon as possible. Thank you. Hari Om.